The intention of this podcast is really just to speak into the hearts of other men that may be going through something like divorce, separation, or just struggling with where you're at and not quite sure where to go from here. Now, today I want to chat with my good friend Brody, who we've been working together for,
I think about 7 months now.
Yes, we met 7 months ago. What originally had brought you to like us having a conversation? Like, what was happening in your life that you decided to reach out?
Sure. I think I got a free or a text or no, I think I got an email or something. Hey, the Modern Man, call is going to be on at 10, and it was like 9:30. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna get cleaned up real quick and hop on the call. And Joey was heading that one up, and I think it was on the drama triangles. I think it was the time space consistency versus the victim. I should know this by now.
Yeah.
The victim.
The shame,
and
blame.
and the blame, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, it was just really spoke to me. I was just like, why haven't I found this years ago? I've been struggling with my marriage and was separated 3 or 4 times. I can't even remember how many. And I wish I just found it, years earlier, which I think most of us that have troubles with our marriages and with our romantic relationships could attest to. Just really great practical knowledge that you can walk away with that same day. Not like, hey, you got to do 5 more sessions in order to figure out what's wrong, what's wrong and how to fix it. No, Joey immediately can go, hey, here's a good takeaway you can do with today if you're struggling with, your significant other and how to get yourself out of those drama triangles and use some power statements and get some confidence going and really just honest to God, finding yourself as a man and your identity outside of your marriage or outside of your romantic relationship. So he really just hit the nail on the head and asked me some pointed questions. Like I said, that's what I was really impressed with. There's a whole group of guys on there, probably maybe 20 or 30, and he's like, well, Brody, what do you need today? And I'm like, you know what I really need is some feedback. And you're like, yeah? I'm like, yeah. No one's giving me feedback. Everybody's afraid that I'm going to crumble if they give me any constructive criticism. And, Joey just got right to the point and was like, hey, what do you need today? And he just told me like it was, and can't tell you how much I appreciated that.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you for that. Man, so you came here for support in your marriage, and you had realized that you were kind of stuck in this drama triangle, which for those that don't know, the drama triangle is when you're stuck in between the victim, the persecutor, and you're somewhere in between.
Right.
And anyone listening to this can look that up on their own. But in terms of the guilt cycle, which I believe is the training, it was when you're stuck in between a place of feeling guilty, shameful, and then placing the blame on all of these like fickle things on why things aren't working.
Right.
So in terms of like what you were experiencing, like what was actually happening for you?
I think it was all 3, actually. I felt guilty that I couldn't save my marriage. I felt shame about that. I don't know. I just felt like everything I did wasn't right with my ex, and it was just like I felt very defeated. Just like I couldn't, and I just had no clue on how to move forward. I mean, I had done years of therapy, and group therapy and recovery, and honestly, nothing really moved the needle that much farther forward. Honest to God, spent thousands of dollars, and was just like, this is great, and I'm still feeling honestly like shit. And once I found Joey and his curriculum and basis, it just really clicked with me quickly. I really got into the assignments, and I think I found a lot of healing very quickly, just because I finally realized that I didn't need to feel guilt and shame about my marriage. Did I take responsibility for what I had done and maybe didn't do? Absolutely. But I didn't have to bear the full weight of the failure of the marriage, and it wasn't all my fault. I made significant mistakes, like we all do. We're all fallible, but I could let that shame go and that guilt go, and go, hey, how can I learn better skills going forward, and maybe for my next romantic relationship? Hey, how can I build myself up and get the skills and tools I need to communicate effectively, be an empathetic listener, or just a couple of things, and really just use some power statements and really look at, be really reflective on myself and introspective, and say, hey, where am I falling short? And then, hey, also, maybe it's not me all the time. Where are some key points and where my ex fell short too, and where did we fall short together? Where was the breakdown, and what happened? So,
man, there's so much there. Do you feel like there was a time where ultimately there was no individuality, there was no knowingness in where the relationship began and where your identity began at the same time? It's kind of in reference of the, I think you shared earlier, you didn't know who you were outside of the marriage.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I had any identity outside of my marriage or being a dad or my job. Honest to God, I think I guess I thought I was doing a decent job at all three, and maybe I wasn't. I don't think I was,
You
but I
were.
didn't really, I think being married for a while, you kind of like self-sacrificing for your wife and your son all the time, and you kind of forgot about yourself. Hey, I didn't realize I needed to take some time for myself, and that it wasn't selfish. That was, hey, I do have some healthy needs that I need met within my relationship with my wife and my son, and then also have healthy needs that I need to get met outside of that, and that's okay to ask for both. And I
Yeah.
realized that most of those weren't being met at all, honestly, and that's probably where I really lost my identity because I thought, gosh, I just need to sacrifice a little more and try a little harder, and keep trying, and it seemed like the harder I tried, the worse it got, and the worse the fights and the drama got, and so yeah, it was really very frustrating at the end. I was just like, wow, I'm really defeated, and this just sucks.
Yeah.
I don't
Just
wanna,
didn't have much more to give.
no, I had nothing left. Honestly, I think I was just in an emotional desert for years and didn't really realize it. I just thought, oh, I just need to kind of buck it up. Everybody goes through hard times in their marriage, but I was, I felt like the roommate that was, wasn't getting any most of the time, and that I should be grateful that when I did get some or got some attention from her, that happy wife, happy life. I should be happy with that. But hey, what about happy
Yeah.
Brody, happy dad?
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't
You
forget
matter.
about yourself.
You
Yeah.
matter.
Absolutely. I think I really learned that with Joey. Hey, I matter. I've got value. I've got worth. I've got healthy needs, and that's okay to express them. And that if those aren't being met, and you got, so I finally found boundaries that it's okay to say, hey, you know what, these aren't being met, and I've got to move on. And
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing to feel guilty or shameful about.
Yeah. Man, I think if more people recognize that it is not a fundamental, terrible thing to get your needs met or to recognize that my needs are not being met here and this person cannot meet them.
Right.
And I think many people, the unfortunate dichotomy of that is many people get their needs met while they're still in a relationship. And that's when affairs happen, and that creates even more turmoil and emotional onslaught than just ending it.
Right. Absolutely. I think I was really on the cusp of that, of like, hey, if my needs are getting met, I hear I'm going to go outside the marriage and get them met, or hey, I'm going to go hang out with friends all the time because they give me good positive reinforcement and feedback, and
Yeah.
I'm not getting that at home. I get it at work and I get it with my friends, but
Yeah.
boy, at home all I get is that constant criticism and nagging, and it's like this just sucks. This isn't life. This isn't love. This is bondage.
Yeah.
Honest to God, it was
Yeah.
just
Yeah, and it's sometimes worse than that. And what was the wake up call? I guess what was the tipping point where you were like, I can't do this anymore?
Well, I had gone through a really hard time with depression and anxiety and just panic attacks, and it wasn't going well. I felt like a roommate, I felt like, hey, just pay all the bills, and I think, after I got served with the divorce papers, it was really a wake up call to me. I was like, oh shit. And they came via email, which was even the best part. I opened up one day and it's just like, you're being sued. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't realize
That was
getting
how you
divorced.
found out?
Yeah, she didn't tell me. The paralegal didn't call and tell me personally.
You
I
just-
got open an email attachment, and I was like, wow, it kind of hit me like, okay. I was one of those people that like, hey, I'm just going to get married once. Both of my parents have been married multiple times on both sides. I'm like, just going to get married once, and if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. But I'm going to give it my best effort, and I'm going to try, and I did for 20 years, and I thought I, definitely made plenty of mistakes along the way, and I've learned from them.
We all do.
But yeah, that was a wake up call, and I think my ex thought the wake up call was I would contest it, and I didn't. I was like, okay, it took me.
As if it was like a shit test.
Yeah,
type
shit
thing?
test. Like, hey, this is going to wake you up from your depression. I don't know why you're depressed, although I did tell her why I was depressed and stuff like that. and I had to go sign the papers and get them notarized. Well, it took me, honest to God, 4 times to schedule it at the bank and cancel at the bank because I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I know my wife half my life, and it was just like, okay, this is pretty big deal. I'm really struggling with it. And so I think like the week after Thanksgiving, I finally just got the courage to go. And I'm like, all right, buddy, you're not going to cancel this time. You're going to get your butt in there and just bring the paperwork and the license. And you're going to have to tell the guy the banker why you're here today. You know, it was probably one of the hardest things I've done. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting divorced. And he's like, oh, blankety blink, dude. Hope it gets better. I'm like, well, probably not yet, you know, but it will eventually, you know. And yeah, that probably was my wake up call. That, you know what, my life doesn't need to continue to be this unfulfilling and unsatisfied, and if, you know, if my partner's obviously that unhappy and I was too, let's move on. It's not gonna. Tried counseling, we tried this and that, and you know, she's kept seeing the same patterns, and it was just, you know, never enough. So I think that was my biggest wake up call. It kind of, that hit me like a ton of bricks, and probably set me back further. But probably, you know, in hindsight, got me to where I needed to be, to where I could say, hey, you know what, take responsibility for your part of the marriage, which, you know, didn't work out, and, you know, work on it. Let's work on it. Let's change it, you know. And
so you don't end up dating the same person in a different body, right?
Exactly. Yeah, don't want to do that. Don't want to, you know, I won't say the 20 years were a waste. They weren't. You know, had my son, and you know, some great things, great memories out of it, some great joys being a dad and a husband. But yeah, I don't want to go through that heartache again. And you know, and
you will love again.
Yeah, and you know, just be able to get some boundaries and some standards, and you know, and find out what I want in a relationship with a woman. You know, if she's not checking, I know from now, from working with Joey, hey, if she's not checking 8 out of the 10 boxes, I'm not going to even go on a date with her. You know, I'm just not going to consider it, because I know my value, my worth, and that I know what I want now, and I'm not going to settle for it. And people are like, maybe that's a little arrogant, Brody. Well, maybe it is, but I'd rather be single and happy and satisfied than with somebody and miserable again. Yeah.
Man, I don't think it's arrogant at all. And it's so interesting. Many individuals out there think it's a terrible thing to not settle or to not have your boxes checked. And I think it's important to clarify, so people in the comments don't try to ream me, because I will troll them back. I existed on 4chan as a young kid. But I think you're good. A lot of individuals miss the mark when it comes to like having these boxes checked. And it's in terms of, you know, what are you willing to tolerate? What are you not willing to tolerate? How will this person fit into your life? Like, because your life has changed since the lifestyle that you were living then. And I know for myself personally, and you could relate to this as well, for someone to join you in your life, that's exactly what's happening. In like a covenant and healthy partnership and relationship, you've created this adventure, this metaphorical or proverbial adventure that is your life. And this individual gets to join you on that. And that's okay to recognize that way. And it just goes back to the masculine and feminine frame. You know, naturally the masculine frame, and I'm talking in frames of reference, I'm not even mentioning gender, but I know everyone's going to take it that way. In terms of like masculine frame, like that frame is meant to be in a flow of leadership and have a sense of discipline and assertiveness and a mission that they're working towards. And the feminine is very fluid and feeling and wants to be seen and heard and to create and naturally flow into that. It's like in Tao, it's yin and yang. You know, in Buddhism, it's left brain, right brain. Everything has a polarity, and those things mesh together and create this ecosystem. And I believe what you were referencing earlier is you can take responsibility for your part. You know, a lot of the time, and we hear this a lot on calls, is, you know, if I could go back, this is what I would change. And usually it's not I'd make more money. It's, I'd take the trash out when I said I was going to. I'd follow through and going on the vacation, or hold my boundaries when it comes to finances or X, Y, Z, or say when something isn't being met and that something needs to change. And I think a lot of men are uncomfortable having a conversation of, hey, our relationship is going in the direction of a train wreck, and I want to change things. So I want to start doing things differently, and I'd like you to join me. And they're not willing to have that conversation. And yeah, it's uncomfortable, but that discomfort is the cost of admission to the meaningful lives that we're all seeking at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And I believe now you're getting to this place where you're understanding what your boundaries are and what was violated. And you're understanding what your values are and why you stand for those, and really what you're looking for. And it's deeper than like, oh, I want a brunette. I want a Latina. I want anything like that. It's what type of lifestyle does this person live? Like, where do they hang out? What does their work-life balance look like? Do they have a dog? Do they have kids? Do they want to have more kids? Like, what does it look like to integrate into your life? And I don't believe you're actually considering the dating side. I think because guys always step into one of two places after this. And you went the path of business paired with the healing that you're still doing. But before we get into that, I just want to dive into a little bit of what do you feel like you've taken away just in the time that we've been working together?
I would say, well, there's probably too many to list, honestly, but probably the biggest takeaway is that I think my value. Hey, this is what I bring to the table as a man. Not that I'm trying to be domineering, but to lead, to be confident, definitely have healthy needs and to express those, being an empathetic listener, and big ones, I statements and boundaries, and really just how to communicate effectively. You definitely need to compromise on certain topics, and then what you're willing to compromise and what you're willing not to. And I think just my values and integrity. Here's what I want to be as a man, and as a person, as a business owner, as a whatever, a future husband or romantic partner, and what I don't. And that's okay to have those opinions. Before I was so timid that, hey, I'm just going to compromise on everything to keep that person happy. Mm-hmm. And I always had that fear of, hey, I'm going to be alone. I don't want to be alone and older, and that sad guy going to the restaurant by himself in the corner, sitting in the corner, and eating a soup by himself, looking at his phone. And so I realized it doesn't have to be like that. I've met Joey, but I've also met a lot of great guys too that have gone through similar but not so different. Individually it's different for them, but it's really not that different. And having that brotherhood and that camaraderie and that confidence is a game changer.
Yeah, appreciate you sharing that. Yeah. What do you feel like is something that you would tell another man who's maybe in a similar position where he's getting criticized and maybe just not sure what to do? Like, what if you were speaking to yourself?
I would say, hey brother, you know what, you do have value and worth. You don't have to be controlled and manipulated. I would say, hey, give Joey a call or me a call, and hey, we're here to listen to you and feel you, and go to the depths of what you need. Honest to God, that's what we all need. Honestly, if we don't have those relationships, what is life without that? It's really nothing. So, hey, we feel you. You're worth it. You're worth it. Whatever it costs, it's going to be better probably than anything you've ever done. Your marriage counseling, individual counseling, group counseling, recovery, whatever. It's that good. And don't miss the opportunity to work with Joey and the other guys in the group. It's that great. So
appreciate you sharing that, man. I'm so curious. What do you feel is missing now in your life?
Not a whole lot, actually. I was thinking about that the other day. I was driving here from Arizona. I'm like, well, what am I missing? I'm like, yeah, I guess I'm maybe missing a romantic relationship. Yeah, that'd be nice to have, that'd be the icing on the cake. But, I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of excited about life again. Like, I'm waking up in the morning. I'm excited to start the day with, thinking about the health spa and, doing that. And then, just starting anew with looking for a new apartment on my own and even caregiving for my sister. It's like, I've got a spark in my life again. I got that, twinkle in my eye. I'm ready to go. And it's exciting. I haven't had that in 15 years, and that's huge. Once you have that spark and that passion, that drive again, then you're like, wow, life's got a lot more meaning, and when you get more connection, and you don't feel like you're alone. I guess they tell that guy that's like, hey, you're not alone. Probably most of us go through this, and don't suffer in silence. Don't be that island. Come join us. Come heal.
Love it, man. Appreciate you sharing your time and your story with me today, man.
Absolutely.
Hey, my name's Joey, and over the last 5 years, I've helped hundreds of marriages navigate the pitfalls of divorce, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. If you want more raw truths, practical tips, a little bit of sarcasm, and maybe some dad jokes in between, like and subscribe for more.